Do you sometimes have trouble keeping cash flowing inside of your business? Sometimes it's flowing really good and sometimes it's really bad. Well, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to keep cash flowing regardless of the season that you're in inside of your business. Let's dive in. Well, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm grateful for you as always. And if you are a business owner at all, you know that cash flow is one of the greatest challenges that you're probably going to have inside of your business. Cash flows in, it flows out, it flows in, it flows out. And there are trends that can happen inside of your business where your account is steadily growing or your account is steadily declining. And we got to figure out, how do we manage all this while also trying to manage the business? Okay, so there's a few things that I want to talk about today on how to get a better handle with your cash flow. By the way, this is the number one reason that businesses shut down, because they don't know how to manage their cash flow. Okay, so this skill set will serve you for a long time. Okay, so number one, the first thing you got to understand is that there is going to be an ebb and flow. Okay, if you think that you'll always have this amount of money in the bank account, you're wrong. So you need to know that there's times that you'll have way more and there's times that you'll have way less, but you need to set what I call your freak out number. So as your business gets bigger, you need to have a higher freak out number inside of your business. So guys, there's been moments inside of my business that we had $70,000 in the bank account, and there's been moments that we've had $3,000 in the bank account. And there's a huge ebb and flow of the cash flow inside of your woodworking business. You need to know, where does the money come from? Okay, how do I get money in the business? Now, number one, pretty obvious, pretty clear, is from sales. Okay, so some of you guys, you get upfront paid in full payments. Okay, some of you guys get 50% deposits. And so that's what we do. We always get 50% deposits on the close of the sale. And then at the end, when we're done with our order, we get second half payments. So 50% payments on the back end. And so our business cash flows from sales and from production. I set it up that way to make sure that we kept a pulse on production and how efficient we were, so that we knew that we were driving revenue as a result of what we were producing. Number one, though, is you need to understand that there's an ebb and flow. So number two, you need to overcome bad sales months with good production months. What happens is you will probably pick up around the middle of a month how that month is trending from a sales standpoint, okay? Now, disclaimer here, we usually get about 50 to 70% of our sales in the last week of every month. But that's because we have a sale that starts at the beginning of every month and ends at the end of every month. And so people are trying to take advantage of that sales event at the end of each month. But if you're not running something like that, you'll probably be able to spread your sales out more across the month and know, like, okay, this is a bad sales month or this is a good sales month. If you have a bad sales month, what that means is we need to focus more attention and more priority on getting more out the door so that we can collect more cash from production to float the business, because we're not collecting as much cash from sales. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I can't hear you, but hopefully you're saying yes. Okay. So number three is we overcome poor production months with great sales months. Okay. Now, if we have something that's happening in production, let's say, for example, I have a great example for you. So for the last 90 days, I've been fighting with my city trying to get a spray booth installed, which is all but basically halted our ability to produce quickly inside of our shop. Okay. So for the last 90 days, I've known that basically our ability to produce is going to be suppressed. We're not going to be able to produce at the same rate that we normally are, because we can't spray anything. We can't get a product finished inside of our shop, right? So we moved to another location to spray, but it created this big logistical nightmare for us. And so we weren't able to be as efficient and produce as much from the shop as we normally are. So with that being said, I knew that we needed to double down on marketing. We needed to double down on sales and drive really good revenue from the front end of that part of our business. And so we've compensated with having poor production months with having really good sales months the last couple months. Okay. We need to be able to see what's happening and adjust and account for it on the fly as it's happening. And number four, which sometimes happens, is if you're having a poor sales month and a poor production month, you need to go on a spending freeze. No money is going to leave our accounts. If you're a one-man team, this is very easy to do. But if you have overhead and you have payroll and you have insurance, you have that stuff regardless of if you're producing or not. So you need to make sure that you're getting enough done to cover those bases, but cut down and slow and limit all spending across your organization if you're having a really poor sales month and a really poor production month all in the same month. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully you can foresee what the trend is within your business and you can offer some solutions with that, whether it be increasing sales or increasing production. But this is how I have managed cash flow inside of my own business for the last 6 years. Came really close to running the account down to zero. There's been times where I've had to take on debt because we've been in bad places. This is part of learning. This is part of growing a business. So don't kick yourself too hard if you go through difficult seasons. And by the way, this is really stressful. This is probably the most stressful part of running and operating a business. But if you can learn to manage cash flow effectively, you can learn how to survive and not stress out during the ebbs and flows of business. With that being said, guys, hopefully this was helpful to you. If it was, be sure to like the video. Be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? What are you doing in your life? Be sure to subscribe. So with that being said, I love you guys. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one.